What if tomorrow's breaking news read, Russian forces capture Pokrovsk? The entire balance of the Ukraine war would shift overnight. Pokrovsk, a key logistics and railway hub in the Donetsk region, isn't just another city on the map. It's a lifeline for Ukrainian troops defending the Eastern Front. Its capture would signal that Russian forces have pushed deeper than expected, cutting off critical supply routes and isolating Ukrainian brigades fighting in nearby areas. The psychological impact alone would echo far beyond the front lines. For Ukraine, losing Pokrovsk would mean more than a tactical setback. It would mark a symbolic blow to morale. This city has long served as a gateway to the western part of Donetsk, still controlled by Kiev. Its fall would bring Russian troops dangerously close to the industrial heartland, threatening Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, two of the last major strongholds under Ukrainian control in the region. Ukrainian commanders would face a brutal choice: hold their positions and risk encirclement, or withdraw westward to avoid another Mariupol-style siege. For Russia, capturing Pokrovsk would be a propaganda triumph. Moscow would declare it as proof of momentum after months of grueling, attritional warfare. State media would portray it as a step toward liberating the entire Donbas. While on the ground, Russian logistics would improve dramatically. The railway lines running through Pokrovsk could be used to transport heavy equipment and ammunition, making future offensives easier and faster. But the move would also invite consequences far beyond the battlefield. Western nations would view it as a dangerous escalation, a sign that Russia might be preparing to press further west, perhaps even toward Dnipro. NATO's response would likely be immediate: more weapons, more intelligence support, and potentially fewer restrictions on how Ukraine uses Western-supplied missiles. If Pokrovsk fell, the humanitarian crisis would deepen overnight. Tens of thousands of civilians still living there would be trapped between advancing Russian units and retreating Ukrainian forces. Evacuation corridors would become chaotic, and aid delivery nearly impossible. Satellite images might soon reveal lines of refugees fleeing west, echoing scenes from Bakhmut and Avdiivka, cities that were reduced to rubble before finally being taken. The fall of Pokrovsk could also trigger political tremors in Kiev. Critics might question the government's military strategies and demand faster mobilization, while others would call for more direct Western involvement. President Zelensky's administration would likely respond with renewed appeals to Europe and the US, arguing that this is not just Ukraine's war, but a test of whether democracy can survive in the face of aggression. Meanwhile, inside Russia, Kremlin officials would celebrate but quietly brace for the next wave of Western sanctions. Analysts say such a move could harden global divides even further, with China and Iran standing more firmly behind Moscow, while Europe accelerates defense cooperation under NATO's umbrella. Militarily, the Ukrainian army might reorganize along a new defensive line closer to Dnipro, focusing on conserving manpower and avoiding encirclement. Western analysts would warn that if Pokrovsk falls, the door to central Ukraine begins to open. The conflict would no longer be a battle for Donbas alone, but for control of the country's industrial and logistical backbone. In the end, capturing Pokrovsk would not end the war. It would ignite a new, even more dangerous phase. A victory for one side would mean fresh losses for millions, as both armies prepare for what could be the bloodiest chapter yet in Europe's modern history.